attention, please. Thought we'd start this program. I know you're all having fun socializing, but we wanted to break a chance for our electeds to say a few words. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I know it's tough when you see lots of friends, folks you want to meet. So sorry to break into the social time. We have electeds here that we want to give a chance to say a few words to you folks. You know, this is incredible. We had over 200 that signed up to be with us tonight, so thank you all for supporting the partnership and our elected officials. I really appreciate it. What better place to be on a hot day than a place that serves cold beer? So, my name is David Reno. I'm Director of Government Relations for Foothill Transit, and I'm the current chair of the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership. Well, thank you for that. And again, on behalf of the Partnership Board of Directors, I want to welcome you all to MillerCoors. We're thrilled to hold our 16th annual legislative networking reception here. There are many elected officials with us tonight. Oh, thank you. That should help. I won't have to yell so loud. I want to introduce a few of those electeds. Mike Ng, former assemblyman and trustee of the LA Community College District. And I don't know if I've seen him yet, but hopefully he did make it. Jeffrey Prang, Los Angeles County Assessor. Mr. Prang, did you make it? Well, hopefully he'll be with us. And although there are too many local city council members to read out all their names, we would like to mention attending tonight are cities representing Alhambra, Azusa, Claremont, Covina, Duarte, Diamond Bar, Glendora, Irwindale, Laverne, Monrovia, Montclair, Montebello, Rosemead, and South El Monte. Thank you so much for being with us. Temple City? Oh. And wouldn't you know it, one of my Foothill Transit board members is here, and I forget Temple City. My apologies, Cynthia. In addition, there are board members present from Glendora, Hacienda, La Puente, Bassett, Monrovia, West Covina, Baldwin Park, and Azusa Unified School Districts, and trustees of Mount San Antonio College, Pasadena City College, and Citrus College. We also have board members from the Valley's water agencies that I will thank momentarily when we come to our sponsors. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. With that, I'm going to introduce the chair of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, Gene Marabito, if you would come forward.
Thank you, David. The San Gabriel Valley, can everybody hear me? The Council of Governments is just absolutely pleased to be a co-sponsor for this legislative reception this evening. It's just a great turnout to have at this venue. This venue is absolutely fantastic. So we want to take the opportunity at this time to thank all of our legislative leaders for the job that you do supporting this San Gabriel Valley. It makes this valley the fantastic place that it is, and without your help, it would be very difficult to have the quality of life that we currently have. So thank you to all of you.
Okay. You know, looking out, I have such an incredible view of all of your beautiful faces. And as I mentioned at the gala, there's so many friends out there and folks I'd like to say hello to. There's a good chance that I'm going to miss having an opportunity to say hi and thank you for being here, so I apologize. If you're leaving and you go, golly, Reno never said hello to me. What's up with that? So I want you to know how much I appreciate you being here, your friendships, and thank you for everything. It's just fantastic to have you all here tonight. This event wouldn't be possible unless we had sponsors who financially support these types of events, and I'd like to take a quick minute to thank each of them. AT&T, Foothill Transit, Time Warner Cable, Majestic Realty, Mount San Antonio College, Kaiser Permanente, Metropolitan Water District, Southern California Gas Company, Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. Those are our event sponsors, if you could give them a hand. And we have our leadership sponsors, Industry Manufacturers Council, Samuelson and Fetter, MetLife, San Gabriel Valley Corporate Campus, San Gabriel Basin Water Quality Authority, San Gabriel Valley News Group, Sanitation Districts of Los Angeles County, Three Valleys Municipal Water District, and Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District. Again, our leadership sponsors, if you could give them a hand. And our media sponsors are Business Life Magazine and International Media Training Center, CCN Sunrise, if you could give them a hand. And help me out here, we're being taped tonight. Is that Time Warner? Thank you, Time Warner, for Peter Hidalgo of Time Warner. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to invite one of my board members up to introduce an elected, and then we'll have board members follow that will introduce our electeds who will say a few words this evening. And with that, I will now hand it over to Tina Javid of the gas company.
Good evening. I drew the lucky straw. I get to go first. My name is Tina Javid. I work for the Southern California Gas Company, and I'm the Regional Public Affairs Manager. I got to get this right so you can hear me. I have the honor of introducing Senator Bob Huff. Senator Huff represents the 29th Senate District, covering portions of Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. He was first elected to the Senate in 2008. He serves as vice chair of the San Gabriel Valley Caucus and was the Republican leader in the Senate for several years. All of us know him also as a member of the Diamond Bar City Council. So when he looks out into this room, he's going to see a lot of familiar faces, and he was in the assembly. So without further ado, I invite him up here to be the first to speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tina. And indeed, looking around the room, I see a lot of friendly faces. First of all, you got to get used to this. This is a little tricky. Thanks to MillerCoors for hosting us here. Thanks to the Public Affairs Network, the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, and the COG. It's a great group assembling here. I'll get this figured out. But 4 words you usually hear from politicians they don't mean. I'll keep this brief, but I will. We're on spring break up in Sacramento right now, and so that means you can relax until next week. When we come back from spring break, that's when the activity begins, because many of our bills have to be 30 days in print before we hear them. That is, unless it's the last few days, and then we just wharf it to the floor without reference to file and move things quickly. But at any rate, we're in that moment where we're abiding by the rules. So committees will be going fast and furious as we crescendo into budget time and then all these other deadlines. But part of our job is also representing you down here. And at the local level, we're pleased that last year, we voted on the transportation bill that moved that vehicle that's now at the Metro Agency, and you and the COG have done your planning and come up with your priorities list, as all of the COGs have in LA County. And hopefully we have a bottom-up approach that represents the region's priorities, and we can get that passed and get some of the transportation relief. We're not going to get it from Sacramento or Washington, although we do get some. And as you know, I've got a bill that would keep $1 billion a year being swept into the general fund up at the state level. It's the truck weight fees that ought to be going to fixing our roads. But another thing that's on our radar, and Senator Ed Hernandez and I hosted a meeting in West Covina the other day listening on the stormwater permits, the MS4 permits. Many of you were there. We appreciate coming together. It's not anything new, but perhaps it's starting to get more focus as people and city elected officials and residents are starting to understand this is real. $20 billion for LA County for stormwater cleanup. How do you pay for it? That's $6 billion for San Gabriel Valley. And so there was a lot of heads about snapped off as these numbers were flowing around, with some cities in our area having to come up with $350 million when they can't even pave all their streets or have all the cops on the street they want. So these real issues we're trying to wrestle and make some sense out of. But I just wanted to conclude by saying thank you, everybody, for what you do to help keep this region the dynamic and the valley in LA County. Thank you very much.
Peter Hidalgo with Time Warner Cable. On behalf of my colleague Steve Sawyer, we're both directors of government relations for Time Warner. We're thrilled to be here this afternoon. I have the pleasure and honor to introduce to you my congresswoman representing the mighty 27th District of the San Gabriel Valley. Congresswoman Judy Chu was elected to the House of Representatives in 2009, and she represents, like I said, the 27th District, which covers the west side of the San Gabriel Valley and several foothill cities. She serves as a member of the very powerful House Small Business and Judiciary Committees, and prior to serving in the House of Representatives, she was a member of the Garvey Unified School District Board of Directors or School Board of Education, and a Monterey Park City Council member until she was elected to the State Assembly and the State Board of Equalization. Congresswoman, notice how the microphone you cannot move. So without further ado, although I do have to give a quick shout out to my wife, Juliet, who come from Cal Poly Pomona, who came and joined me today. Juliet, thanks for coming out, and all of our guests. But without further ado, Congresswoman, let me introduce to you Congresswoman Judy Chu.
That's tricky, huh? Well, thank you so much, Peter. Really appreciate it. It's so great to be here with the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, and also to be here with my colleagues, Congressmembers Loretta Sanchez, Norma Torres, and Grace Napolitano. I'm just thrilled to be with you once again, and I must say this is a record turnout, so you must be doing a great job in mobilizing the people and in all the projects that you've been undertaking. Well, wasn't it a thrill to be there at the March 5th opening of the Gold Line extension for Azusa? The enthusiasm of the crowd was so incredible. And just think, it was such a long time coming. And there was a time when the Metro Board was so skeptical that it didn't include the Gold Line in its long-term plan. That's why I was so glad when I was able to join Congressmembers David Dreyer and Adam Schiff to get 14 members of Congress to sign a letter to Metro, and they changed their mind and reversed this decision. But our job is not done, and that's why I was so delighted to see that in Metro's drafted expenditure plan that was released last week, the Gold Line is included. And this does mean that should it stay in place, we'll really have to work hard for this ballot measure in November. And we just cannot stop until this Gold Line goes to Claremont, Montclair, and the Ontario Airport. But transportation is indeed a priority for the whole San Gabriel Valley. That's why I am a big supporter of the Alameda Corridor East project and the 5760 Confluence project. Yes, Carol. And I will do what I can. Thank goodness we have a five-year transportation bill that was passed, but I will help in whichever way I can, as I know my colleagues will, whether it's through Tiger grants or the FACT grants, to make sure that we get funds for these grade separations and for safe freeway interchanges. And let me also say that small business is what has made the San Gabriel Valley thrive. That's why I chose to be appointed to the House Small Business Committee and to be the Democratic head on the Small Business Committee's Access to Capital subcommittee. To make small businesses successful, they need the access to capital. And yet, when small businesses go to banks for conventional loans, 73% of them get rejected. And that's why the loan guarantees by the Small Business Administration are so incredibly important. Last year, I worked to avert a disaster when the Small Business Administration 7A loan program, which is so popular, reached its cap. And I advocated for it to be lifted. Thank goodness it was lifted by millions of dollars. But the thing I'm proudest of is the fact that my bill, the Creed bill, was put into law this past December. This is a program, it's the SBA 504 loan refinance program, and it will allow small businesses to refinance old, expensive commercial loans, their own real estate, at today's low interest rates. Now, when this program was active in 2012, 2,700 businesses refinanced at over $7 billion. So clearly, this program can be a major help to small businesses, allowing them to free up their capital so that they can reinvest it in keeping their businesses afloat. So this program is coming back in June or July, so look out for it and take advantage of it. I've also worked to help businesses get what they need to really be able to plan, and that's through the Small Business Development Centers. These SBDCs are the most effective program of the SBA. They provide business plans, marketing research, and financial help, and all for free. So that's why I worked so hard to bring them to the San Gabriel Valley. There's now one at Pasadena City College and the other at the University of Laverne, and they've been so successful in the short time they've been here. Combined, these SBDCs have already provided over 15 hours of consulting help to over 350 clients. But I have an exciting announcement, which is that they are going to expand to other satellite locations, including one in South Pasadena. So I tell you, if you know anyone that is wanting to flex their entrepreneurial muscle, please have them go to one of these SBDCs. I also want to announce to all of you that I'll be holding a House Small Business hearing in the district in a few short weeks. It's addressing the problem that women entrepreneurs have in accessing capital. In fact, did you know that less than 10% of overall venture capital funding goes to women-owned businesses? So women are clearly underserved. We want to find solutions, and so my hearing will be on Tuesday, April 5th at 10 a.m. at the Pasadena City Council chambers, and we will hear potential solutions so that we can open up doors to women entrepreneurs. Finally, I wanted to let you know about an issue I've been working on for a bit, and that is to help our veterans. My biggest priority is to correct an injustice here at home, and that is the fact that we have no health clinic here in the San Gabriel Valley. For more than 7 years, veterans have had to travel for long distances to get their health care needs met. And so I pressed the VA for a clinic right here in the San Gabriel Valley. The VA did agree to provide the staff, and I am so grateful to the city of Pasadena for helping us find a site, which we hope to do very, very soon. And I hope by this time next year to really make a great announcement about its opening. So thank you all so very much for inviting me today. I truly appreciate it. And let's do what we can to make sure the San Gabriel Valley is a great place for all of us.
My honor. My name is Reina Del Haro. I'm one of the board members. I'm also Public Affairs Director for Kaiser Permanente. And I don't have a good handle on this. I'm very thrilled and honored to introduce my Congresswoman, my dear friend, and somebody that I've had the privilege of working with for many, many years. I don't really think she needs much of an introduction, but I will share with you that she was elected to Congress in 1998, and she's represented the San Gabriel Valley since 2012. And before being elected to Congress, she served 6 years in the State Assembly, and she's also the former mayor in Norwalk. She serves as a key member on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, where she was instrumental in getting a new federal highway bill passed last fall. I will tell you that working with Congresswoman Grace Napolitano, we all know that she's a huge advocate in the area of mental health, in the area of water, transportation, and for our veterans. And Grace, I can't thank you enough for everything that you do. I think that's how all of us feel about you. You do a tremendous job. We're honored that you could join us here today, and I'd like you to join us and tell us what you've been up to lately. Please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Reina. It's really a pleasure. And I look out in the audience and I see a lot of friends. Thank you very much for your well wishes and recently for my little episode. Judy, you do a tremendous job. I can't tell you. You do an honor in their area, and I'm glad to take over half of your district. And Norma, you're a great colleague, and so is Loretta. You can't imagine how hard these women work for you. Thank you, MillerCoors, for opening your doors. I'm very impressed with what you've done. The solar panel, the vegetation, it is just remarkable. And to think that a few years ago it was unthinkable, yet now you have paved the way. So thank you very much. Thank you for David Reyno and the San Gabriel Valley Partnership. It's a pleasure to come before you. And thank you, Fran de Lac, where are you? And welcome, congratulations to Jeff. Where are you? The new CEO. Oh, there he is in the back. He's hiding. Okay, round of applause for him. I'm really proud of the work that we have been able to bring forth here in the San Gabriel Valley. The goal line, for example, the ridership must continue to report. You're right, Judy. And being the ranking member, California Dem on transportation, you know what my first dibs are. And we hope to bring the Secretary of Transportation back in here to see what we've done and seek his help for expanding it all the way to the airport. The FAST Act, it was $305 million, 5 years, and I was the ranking member, and we were able to secure 26 billion for California. That means jobs, and a lot of it was items that were directly from Metro, from Doherty, from people who knew what the needs were. We thank you for the input, and I'm already informed them that the ACE corridor is of this on? Oh. It comes in and out. That the ACE corridor and the 5760 confluence are my next targets for them. The transportation bill also included local bridge funding, $1 billion, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, $850 million, the disabled access, transfer fares were protected, $200 million in grants for positive train control, PTSD, PTC, the thing that they said that wouldn't happen. It is now going to protect some of our riders, and both in the Metro and MetroLink, and we hope that we will have those fully implemented. $200 million for them. Improved coordination of federal NEPA and CEQA, and it will be accomplished. And thank you again to those that answered the call for input to those bills, because that's what made it happen. The FAA plane route changes, we had some issues there. I asked all my cities what were the concerns, and they came forth, and we asked FAA to come and meet with them, and now they, their concerns they have been made negligible. They have explained what they want to do, and those cities are comfortable with the decisions that FAA made on the changing of the routes on the different cities. The water. I am the most senior member on water in transportation. As such, HR 291, the Water in the 21st Century Act with 31 co-sponsors to address the drought. Senator Boxer, Feinstein, and Reed have introduced my bill in the Senate, $750 million for homeowners and businesses to purchase water-efficient appliances and landscaping. $700 million in grants and $500 million in loans for water infrastructure projects with emphasis on recycling, my favorite word, recycling, and groundwater cleanup, stormwater projects, and water replenishment projects. New EPA grant programs for stormwater projects to address a Clean Water Act permit in Los Angeles. It authorizes as much money as is appropriated in this new EPA grant. You may know Mary Ann Lutz, former Mayor of Monrovia. She's my head. I hired her to advocate on behalf of the cities, my cities and other cities, with EPA on stormwater. And since I am the ranking member on transportation on that subcommittee, both EPA and Army Corps of Engineers come under my jurisdiction. So that makes it a little easier for me to ring their bell, if you will. And I do ring it regularly. Thank you. This is important, and when you mention that I have the seniority, I have it because I've worked on it, and I've managed to formulate the partnerships and the relationships with both the senator, with the head of transportation and EPA. General Bostich has helped on the encampments and other stormwater. It is the issue of the catch basins, which we recently had drained. Okay, the Whittier Narrows and Santa Fe Dam, General Bostich, General Toy, Colonel Gibbs have improved the capture at Whittier Narrows. With every storm, we are pressing upon the Army Corps of Engineers to increase their capture of the stormwater. Every drop counts, and so we are very pushing, if you will. The homeless encampments, there have caused fire, and they're a problem for some of the cities. We asked the cities to get band together with the county, and we are now formulating, and I think they've cleared most of the encampments along the San Gabriel River, and that's because we called them together and said to them, we want no more meetings. One meeting is enough. We just need to figure out who can help do what. Believe it or not, the cities came to the help of the Army Corps, and it has taken place. And thank you to the Army Corps of Engineers. And they're also working with the VA and to arrange and shelter the homeless that they find along the riverbed. On mental health, I'm the chair of the Congressional Mental Health Caucus. We have May mental health coming up. It is important that you realize that we have a great issue. I have a program that is in 26 schools now for youngsters from kindergarten to high school. And Reina Del Lado, thank you very much for helping out on that. Kaiser came in and at Bassett instituted a program to help 15 years ago? That long ago, thank you. I have a bill, 1211, the mental health in schools provide $200 million for schools nationwide. Pilot project to emulate what we've done in the process. We are now in 26 schools in the district. We're providing on-site clinicians to help with the different issues children face, cutters, bipolar, depression, bullying, things of that nature. The gun violence, I'm the vice chair of the Democratic Gun Violence Prevention. It was formed after the Newtown shooting. I am the only vice chair to focus on mental health, which is part of it. We continue to work. We don't see much moving. Several reasons, I'm sure you can understand. There's a lot of pressure from the NRA, but we hope to have something during this election year. On the veterans, we've held 4 veterans forums already here at Sousa Armory. We bring the VA, both Westwood and Long Beach, that they bring caseworkers. We have them we're inviting Judy Chu to join us next year, and everybody else that would like to join us. We provide services for the veterans to work their casework that, you know, it sometimes takes 6 months or more, sometimes years, and we want to make sure that they get the service they need when they need it, and apparently it's working a little bit. We're working with the Army Corps on hiring veterans, especially in curation services. We passed a bill. I strongly supported HO 203, Clay Hunt SAV Act. Evaluates mental health programs, requires the VA to improve their suicide prevention through the collaborations and increased fundings. For the business sector, this year again, we're providing another forum to help businesses find markets somewhere else in the world. It's export only, and this is our 4th one, and we hope to increase more. I do not want imports. I focus on exports. And that, so far, I can talk a little bit more, but I must quit while I'm ahead. Thank you.
So don't we have some wonderful congressional members? Let's give them a round of applause. We're so blessed here in the San Gabriel Valley. My name is Carlos Stillingworth. I'm the Southern California Director of Communications and Government Affairs for Albertsons, Safeway, Vons, and Pavilions, the largest grocery company in California. We're based in Orange County, so I'm really pleased to represent an Orange County member of Congress that's with us today who made the trek out here to Irwindale. We're pleased to have Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. Congresswoman Sanchez was elected to the House in 1996. She represents California's 46th congressional district, which includes the cities of Anaheim, Santa Ana, Orange, and Garden Grove in Orange County. She holds senior positions in the Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees in the House and has been a long leader in national security and military affairs. We're honored she could be here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Sanchez.
So, I want to thank all of you and for being here tonight. It is a great turnout. I haven't seen this kind of a turnout for a mixer on Good Thursday in a long, long time. I want to point out my colleagues, Judy Chu, who I've supported from the very get-go, Norma Torres, who I have supported from the very get-go, Grace, who I didn't support in your first race to the Congress, Grace, but I hope I've made up for it since then. So these 3 women are exceptional. And I know that the San Gabriel Valley also has a little bit of my sister, Linda Sanchez, in it. So these 4 women are really exceptional. So people are saying, well, what do you know about the San Gabriel Valley and our business community and everything? Well, most people don't know that my family is all over this valley. And in fact, 50 years ago, we just celebrated the 50 years of Head Start in the United States. And on the front page, 50 years ago, July 8th of this past year, there's a little girl as the first little girl in Head Start in the program nationally made by President Johnson. And that little girl is Loretta Sanchez. And it's the El Monte Examiner. Yeah, because I used to go to Ann Ligore Elementary School, right? So my family knows this area very well. We used to go up every Sunday up Azusa Boulevard. That's the way you used to go up to go to the Rito and hang out on Sunday mornings and cook your trepitas and, menudo and everything with the whole family. So long traditions in this area. So for those of you who don't know me, I've been in Congress for 20 years. I represent the Orange County, California. If you know Anaheim, if you know Disneyland, you know Anaheim, that's where I represent. I help these women to get their agenda done. That's the nexus that we have with you. But there's also another thing that I do, and that is that I am the ranking woman and the #2 Democrat on both the Armed Services Committee and the Homeland Security Committee in the Congress. So my job almost every day when I'm in Washington, D.C., is to go into top secret meetings and to protect you. A lot of the work that I do, I don't get to talk about. It's not listed in the budget the way that somebody like Gracie can say, I got this, we did that, Norma and I got that, we did. No, no, no. Basically, all that bad stuff you see on television, that's what I'm counteracting every day, protecting America and Americans, and most importantly, for example, when Nancy Pelosi put me on the Homeland Security Committee after its inception from 9/11, she said to me, you know counterterrorism, because I had done that on the Armed Services Committee. She says, you know counterterrorism, you protect Californians. So this is what we do every day when we go in there. But there's a flip side to that. It's called the military budget. Military economy being very important to Southern California and to a lot of your small businesses. So we work with our small businesses and small business committee to ensure that contracts just aren't going to the big guys, they're actually getting to the companies here in the valley and other places. Why? Because 90% of the jobs are held in the small businesses and the medium-sized businesses. That to a large extent is this valley, is Anaheim and Orange County. You're the ones that create the jobs. Recently, we did this transportation bill. And Gracie was great. And the reason I can tell you that is because even though I'm not on the transportation committee, Nancy Pelosi asked me to be on the conference committee. So I went into that room and I just followed Gracie's orders, right, to fight for the monies that we needed. But aside from that, there's another reason. Before I went to the Congress, I used to finance infrastructure up and down the state of California. So I actually started out of MBA school with the Orange County Transportation Planning Commission. So the gold line was actually in the original plan. It just took a whole heck of a lot of years to get done. Let me end with this because we're working on water. We're really working on water. Now, I work on other things. I told you I work on the military. Anything that happens in the military, all the contracts, what we pay people, how many people we have, what bases we have, how many airplanes we buy, everything will happen this year on April 27th. I know, that's the day that we take all day in the Congress on the House side to mark up anything that could happen in the next budget will happen on that day. So most people think after that day that my work is done. But the reality is it's not. We're working on water together. Water is essential to Southern California. If we don't have water, our economy will not grow. We're very fortunate to have Gracie again sitting there, watching for water and also looking at the environmental impacts. We're not just going to willy-nilly undo things for the sake of it, but we need water. So, the governor said, stop taking showers. And I told him, my people will for a while, but don't expect that that's going to live a long time. We can't do it that way. The second thing we can do is reclamation. The largest recycling factory of water in the world sits in Orange County. I know because I brought back all the federal monies to build that 20 years ago when people didn't want to touch recycling. 90% of the water that the people I represent drink is completely recycled. We buy just 10% out on the water market. To do that, we have to clean our aquifers. We have to have groundwater storage that is clean. That is another area that all of these ladies are working on to ensure there's a water basin in LA, but it's contaminated, right? There's a water basin in this area, acid, the batteries, factories, other things. We have to clean them up so that we can capture the water and we can store it underneath. And that's one of the things that we're working on. So you might say, well, what does Orange County have to do with you all? Well, we all work together because this is the jobs region for us. We're interconnected in every way you can imagine. Jet propulsion, Caltech, the aerospace industry, that is my area. We're all connected. And it is a pleasure and an honor to serve you and to serve with my wonderful colleagues. Thank you for having me up today.
I'm Bill Rue, the Governmental Affairs Director for the Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. We have offices in Glendora, South El Monte, and Rancho Cucamonga. We know the valley, our realtors know the value of the valley because they're selling the properties, homes, commercial, vacant land, industrial properties, every single day to help build this valley. But to do so, we need good partners. You see the people in this room, our elected officials. They're great partners in helping us to make sure that this area remains a vibrant place to live, to go to school, and to work. And it's my pleasure to introduce somebody who's been a partner in this for years and years. We know her from her days in Pomona, starting out as a very concerned parent, then as a council member, then as mayor, as assembly member, as state senator, and now, not just the Congress member for all of you, but I consider my personal Congress member. She represents the area I live in and is no stranger to my neighborhood when she decides just at random to park her car and take a walk when she's just out and about and visiting. It's a great pleasure to introduce our newest Congress member from the area, Norma Torres.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you, everyone, for participating once again in this wonderful event. I am so happy to be here at Miller because going back to memory lane, as a city council member, you remember when we had that terrible time when our lights went out and there was no electricity anywhere in California. And the grid was this horrible thing. And we had a governor recalled because of that, and among other things. You remember all of that. And you remember how San Gabriel Valley said, we are not going to lose those jobs. And we all worked together and decided that as cities, we were going to pitch in to ensure that Miller stayed here in Irwindale where it belongs, and that our mutual constituents that are also working here will continue to have a job. So thank you for continuing to be a partner in the community. You can probably go anywhere in the US, but if you left California and you left Irwindale, you would never find a friendlier group of people that really appreciate having you in their backyard. Yes. Being a new member of Congress and following, the wonderful ladies that I'm following is a little bit tough. I can tell you that I serve with Grace Napolitano on natural resources. We're on that committee together, fighting to ensure that other members recognize that there is a thing called climate change, and that part of the problems that we're having here in California with the dry season is not just that it stopped raining all of a sudden, that we have a lot of work to do to ensure that there is water for future generations and that we continue to grow, because if we don't have water, we're not going to be able to continue to grow those jobs. So thank you, Grace, for teaching me so much on that committee. And I am also on Homeland Security Committee and I serve there with Loretta Sanchez. Yes, a lot of our time is spent in classified hearings. You know, a lot of the work that we do, we can't openly share with you. But I can tell you that I am very proud to say that within my very first year in Congress, we were able to pass out of the House 3 bills. 3 bills for a brand new member. And thank you. And I would not have been able to do that if I didn't have the leadership from my colleagues like Loretta and also like Grace Napolitano and Judy Chu that was here earlier. One of the bills that we helped, that we actually got passed, the Republicans refused to allow us to have a hearing on that bill. And what that bill does, as a former state senator, if I had introduced that bill here in California, every Republican would have signed on as a co-author of that bill. In Congress, it is almost impossible to work in a bipartisan way. So since I couldn't get a hearing, we decided to seek the counsel of members like Grace Napolitano. And we found out that there was a backdoor to get our language, our bill language, into the transportation bill. You see, my bill creates a program with limited funds to help ensure that small cities can get their projects, smaller projects, shovel-ready, and then it would create a database where we could match private donors or private investors to those projects. So the 3 Ps, public-private partnerships, which is what we all are working toward. We know that government can't have a solution for everything. We need our private investors to help improve our streets and our infrastructure and our water projects. We were successful in getting the Senate to agree to insert that language into the Senate bill that passed out of the House, or out of the Senate, and then we moved on to the House, and we did the same thing there. So part of the 5-year bill that was approved and signed by our president includes my bill, and I'm so proud that we were able to do that. Because I'm on Homeland Security, I've been working on a lot of security issues. The ports of Los Angeles, the port of Long Beach is very important and a key partner to the Inland Empire and the district that I represent. We are an inland port. The Alameda Corridor is very important, and public transportation projects are very important to my district. So we did a bill that motivates or helps ensure that local government, the federal government, and private business is able to work together to ensure that they address the issues related to cybersecurity within our 360 ports in the nation. So we were very proud to have gotten that out of the House, and I even got a Republican co-author on that bill. And then the other bill puts into law currently a pilot program that trains 70,000 police officers across the U.S. It's special training that they receive through the FLETC program, and it is a very active program here in the port of Long Beach. So that's what I have been working on. For lots of foreign affairs stuff. I've been invited to participate and travel with Vice President Biden to address the issues, the root causes of what we saw in 2014 when 60,000 children came to our border seeking assistance. We know that we can't help every person that shows up at our border. So helping them to address the root causes, most of that deals with public corruption from their governments, lots of problems with that. So that's what I have focused some of my time also in working with the leadership to try to address those issues. Thank you again for inviting me to participate today. I'm so happy to be here among so many of my friends that I served, in different JPAs and on different boards. Thank you again.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Daryl George, and I'm a partnership board member as well as the city manager for the city of Duarte, the city of Health, and the new home of a Gold Line station, Duarte City of Hope. Had a wonderful ceremony a couple weeks ago, and I'm really excited to have that in our city. I have the pleasure to introduce Assemblymember Roger Hernandez, who was elected to the State Assembly in 2010. He represents the 48th District, which covers the central part of the San Gabriel Valley. Assemblymember Hernandez is the chair of the Labor and Employment Committee and serves on the Health, Utilities, and Commerce, Appropriations, and Governmental Organizations committees. Before being elected to the State Assembly, he served as mayor and a city council member in West Covina and as a member of the Roland Unified School Board. Please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Roger Hernandez. Absolutely.
Good afternoon, all. Good evening. It's good to see everybody here today. It's good to see everybody coming together to get updated as to what my colleagues and I are doing for you, whether at the federal level or at the state level. I want to thank the partnership for doing such a good job of making sure that we do coalesce and we do chime in and give you the report that you deserve. We should be reporting back, and we should be getting your input every day as we do the work of the people and the work of the business community, because collectively, whether it's business or the working folks, which is 90% plus of California, we are one community. So it's good that we're all coming together. I want to thank the leadership of David Reyno. You're doing a fine job and has been for the last couple of years. And I know that with the loss, temporary loss of the CEO, David has sped up his work. He's made sure that the visibility in Sacramento, Washington, D.C. has been strong, and there has been no short steps in that process. I also want to thank the work of Fran Delatch for stepping in and doing the good work of CEO here at the partnership. Very respected manager as a city manager throughout the San Gabriel Valley. So Fran, thank you for the good work that you're doing as well. And thank you for the city of Irwindale and the partnership that you've had, very successful partnership with MillerCoors. That's the kind of partnership we want our communities to have with business. It's been effective, and you've really given a lot of models as to the best way of doing business in our region and throughout California. This employer here in Coors understands that sustainability means something, and it means whether it's how we connect workers to proper pay and sustainability, that it matters for our households. Today in America and in California, we're seeing too many workers that are going back to work post-recession, going back to work to 1989 level income. But everything else is more expensive these days. And many workers are going back to work, are finding themselves with no access to benefits and no access to medical care. And what that does to our state is that it puts us in a position where we're having to subsidize corporate America for employers that are not thoughtful, like MillerCoors is here in Irwindale. So I want to give them a big round of applause for being a good business partner and responsible business here in California. We're really fortunate here in the San Gabriel Valley. Folks always ask me, what's going on in your valley? What's happening here? And I'm always proud to talk about the academia that exists here. We have tremendous universities here to support our community, whether it's APU, University of Laverne, Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State LA right down the street, our great Mount Sac and Rio Hondo and Citrus Community Colleges. Yeah, let's give them all a big round of applause, absolutely. We have tremendous diversity here. I often say that the San Gabriel Valley is a good cross-section of California. All the different faces and cultures and ethnicities that live within the state of California are also represented here. And so to have the kind of intellectual capital, the human capital, and to have the universities to support the growth of this region is critical. And so it can't happen, though, without a good partnership, and the partnership that brings business with municipalities, our universities, to make sure that we're doing the kind of preparing and the kind of planning for the 20-year and 30-year picture. So it's wonderful to see what's happening here. We're seeing the Gold Line extension continue to make its way east. Yeah, and it's really neat to see that it is sustainable and more people are taking advantage of it. But that's an investment. I'm proud to say that that was hugely supported by efforts in a collaborative effort, federal, county, local, and the state. And today, the state continues its commitment in the infrastructure costs that we're taking up as a state. I also want to talk a little bit about what we're doing with regards to moving the water bond projects. Water is a big issue. People are asking about what the state legislature is doing. As you all know, voters have approved upwards of a $7 billion water bond. Truth be told, that water bond doesn't cover even a fourth of our need in the state of California, but it is a step in the right direction, and it is the kind of water bond proposal that was able to garner the support of our governor, Governor Brown. So what we've done as a legislature is we've understand that these projects can't delay. So early in the session, we took steps to expedite the funding and the start time of these projects. Those of you that represent the different water districts know that these projects have now been geared up to start up quicker and sooner. One, we need them because we need to find the ability to capture this water and keep it here. But at the same time, we need to also make sure that the infrastructure that are 20, 25 years delayed, that they get going once and for all. So that's all good news, and it's happening by your California legislature. I also want to talk to you about some more San Gabriel Valley direct projects that have come by way. Many of you have seen the work that I was pushing forward in the audit of Los Angeles County's use of Measure B funds. A Measure B, for most of you that might not know what it is, it's a county measure, and it's intended to ensure that we have proper funding for our trauma centers and our emergency room funds. Some of you might remember prior to 2002, there was a lot of talk that our trauma centers were going to come to a close and facilities, emergency rooms, county level, were going to close. Voters were asked to support a measure, a property tax measure. LA County resoundingly supported it. And through the passage of Measure B, there was a promise that was made in that measure. That measure was promised that the San Gabriel Valley would get at least 2 trauma centers and would have additional funding for emergency rooms. Post-2002, we are now at 2016, as you know. The years have passed, and we have not seen one additional emergency room funded and 1 trauma center. It was promised. It was in the augmentation language to Measure B. I'm proud to report to you that through an audit that occurred by the Joint Legislative Committee in your state legislature here in California, we were able to find out some unfortunate truths about where those dollars were going. The San Gabriel Valley is about 20% of LA County, and in fact, the San Gabriel Valley was producing 20% of a $250,000 fund for emergency room and trauma center funding. But guess how much we were getting back out of $50 million coming out of San Gabriel Valley? If anyone would like to take a guess, I'd love to hear from you. Not even $2 million. Not even $2 million. We put in $50 million. The audit that was conducted by Elaine Howe, the state's treasurer, revealed that at best we were getting back about $600,000 a year from the $50 million that we put in. And that's by way of pointing to a helicopter. By way, that's the helicopter that transports trauma patients, but it's also a helicopter that's shared throughout the county. So is it really dedicated just to San Gabriel Valley? Maybe some of us would say maybe not completely. But as a result of the audit, folks, here's the good news. We were able to share those findings with Supervisor Hilda Solis, and in her first meeting, her first month as a supervisor, she had moved language to start the building of the first trauma center here in the San Gabriel Valley, and it's happening at the Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center. So let's give the county a round of applause for taking the right step in the right direction there. And so a reminder to last year. Last year, I said to everybody, I said, I know that you know me as labor chairman, and that means that it's my job to make sure that working families have the kind of support to have sustainability in the household, that there is a safe working condition everywhere where Californians work, and that the protections that exist here are enforced. But by the same token, I've asked all of you that represent small business owners to please come and give me an idea that can help the business community and the small business owners, and you did. You came to me, my office, and you shared that there are too many businesses that are being preyed on by law firms that go around, literally driving around, talking to employers and or employees and asking if there's a missing hyphen, a missing comma on the paycheck. because there was a law in place that said if there's a missing comma on your payroll check, that employer was subject to significant penalties for every check for every employee going 3 years back. So if the company in California had never committed wage theft, was always good by their employee, but there was a missing comma, they were subject to millions of dollars in fines, putting some businesses out of business. So with the strong support and urgency of the Cal Chamber of Commerce and the small business community, I authored Assembly Bill 1506 last year, and that was a bill that was intended to bring reform to the kind of acts I just described. That bill was passed by bipartisan support. It was supported hugely by businesses here in California, and it gives now those business owners that may have had a hyper technical mistake the opportunity 30 days to fix those errors without any fines. So that's relief to many of our businesses here in our community. It was signed by Governor Brown just this last session. Lastly, I want to touch on a couple of other areas that are critical. Our veteran community is one that's been brought up, and it's one that we should continue talking a lot about. Many of our veterans are coming back from their service in the Middle East, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and other parts of the world, and we got to make sure that we're ready to support them in their efforts to re-enter civilization and to be private citizens. Citrus College here in Glendora, California has a model program. They have a veteran resource center that provides our veterans tremendous services, an actual veteran resource center that has counselors for our veterans that help these students fast-track their education, have the necessary guidance and counseling with support systems to get them through the college process and onto a four-year university if that's their desire, or to receive a trade, skill, and certification at the college. We are working on legislation here today to make that Veterans Resource Center not just a one-place opportunity, but an opportunity at all community colleges in California. It's getting bipartisan support in the legislature, and we hope to make sure that that is in place by the end of this year. And lastly, we've moved through the Great Recession, but it's not been the kind of rebound that is felt by everybody. We know that most people that are feeling the recovery are the folks that live in that are in the top 1 or 2% in our society. So there are strong efforts to make sure that we are passing legislation in the California legislature that understands that we need to prevent business models that are pushing workers down to unsustainable, and this is the word I want you to hear, to unsustainable hours, meaning they're working less than 20, 25 hours, where they're not able to provide for their families through any type of medical care programs through their employer, and where there's abuses that are rampant. And so what we're doing in the legislature is pushing and incentivizing ways to have more sustainability in the jobs that are offered, and where there is predatory practices in the workplace. We don't see it here with good businesses like Edison and Coors, MillerCoors, but they do exist in some places in our state, and we're finding ways to improve that. So we have continued to increase over the last 3 years our funding to the UCs, the Cal States, and our local community colleges to make sure that as we refund, the big ask from the legislature is please work closely with your partnerships, with your chambers, with the business community industries that are very vibrant here in California to make sure that educational opportunities that are offered at the 3 tiers of education here in California, that they are consistent with the demand of the workforce, the global workforce, the state workforce. There are a lot of folks that are wanting to poach from California, but this is truly the best place to work because of the business climate and also because of the human and intellectual capital that exists here. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you an update as to the work we're doing in Sacramento. And let's keep all the good things that you're doing. David Reno, the partnership, all the significant members and new members of the partnership. Let's keep coming together. Let's keep talking, because all the good things that are happening, like the GO line, like the expansion of the I-10 freeway, like the flyovers, and all the improvements to make life a little bit easier for the business community are happening because of your advocacy, because of your visits at the Capitol, and because you have come together and a partnership that really lends a strong voice to the California legislature. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Donovan Green from AT&T. I'm here with my colleague Dan Rivetto representing AT&T and have the honor of introducing Supervisor Antonovich. Supervisor Mike Antonovich represents the 5th Supervisory District covering northern Los Angeles County and portions of the San Fernando Valley and San Gabriel Valleys. First elected in 1980, Supervisor Antonovich has served on the board for over 30 years. A former member of the Los Angeles Community College Board of Trustees and 3-term assemblyman, Supervisor Antonovich has had a long and distinguished career in public service. Please join me in welcoming Supervisor Mike Antonovich.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Gotta get it twofer. Well, it's a pleasure to be here to represent you all these years. And we're still very much excited about how we were able to move forward with the goal line and get to Azusa. But that took this cooperation from Congress with Grace Napatano, who is here, my colleagues on the board, Heba Balian with the Construction Authority, former Chief of Staff, Tom Silver, my current Chief of Staff, Catherine Barger. It was all teamwork, working with my colleagues, Mark Ridley Thomas, Hilda Solis, Sheila Kuhl, Don Kanabi, and again, working together as a team. We're going to keep that effort moving forward. We've been working all day today at the MTA so that we can have a proposal in place to talk about, to place on the ballot, to go from Azusa to Claremont, and then we're going to work with San Bernardino to go to Ontario Airport. The gold line, as you all know, is a greater ridership than the green line, and we were always told that the gold line was kind of like a, let's say it's a bad investment, but we proved to the naysayers that it's the best investment that MTA has made, but it took a public-private partnership with the Joint Powers Authority, the Construction Authority, with the cities from the San Gabriel Valley rising up and showing constructive leadership by having a project on time and below budget, which down below they didn't understand. Now they do. So I just want to thank you for your leadership in the community to keep the San Gabriel strong. We're going to work forward because we want to also have a high-tech corridor along that gold line so that we'll have the jobs and opportunities for the brain train and for the great county of Los Angeles, because the San Gabriel Valley will provide that leadership. Well, thank you very much, and God bless.
All right, folks, thank you again. Please stay, enjoy the food and drink. Have a great night. Appreciate it.